Trapped by the belief that I'm not good enough, bound by the limitations and the lies that consumed my world, this was me. It wasn't until I took the biggest leap in my life to know and trust the power within. And it was at that moment I made a choice. My past will not define me anymore. Hello, I am Terry Cardula, and I know I am not alone in this. Over the years, I have found that the number one mistake that we make is that we get in the way of our own success story. Yes, I said it. On this show, together we'll tackle limiting beliefs, self sabotage, getting stuck, fear, doubt, overwhelm, and the imposter syndrome. Join us on this journey designed to transport you beyond your limitations to a world where anything is possible. This is Talking with Terry. Hi, and welcome back to Talking with Terry, where we have powerful conversations to transform your life and your business. And our guest here today, I am so excited for this man. Nick Strand is an author, professional keynote speaker, life coach, and entrepreneur. Nick started his career in the audiovisual industry when he worked alongside names including Kelly Clarkson, Maroon 5, Dave Matthews Band, and using his love and passion for his wife, he has thrived to carry out her legacy. Nick's ultimate goal is to work towards Brianna's dream to make CF stand for Cure Found. Love this. And I have to share this because this was on your bio and I saw this and I was like, I can't not share this because I said, I love the words that Nick has on his bio. And I want to highlight those words because it says driven, passionate, determined, entrepreneur, thinker, loving, and happy-go-lucky. So I just have a feeling this is going to be an incredible interview and I just can't wait to dive in with you. So Nicholas, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So for listeners that haven't met you yet, but they are in for a treat, just share
Yes.
with our listeners just a little bit more about you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, for sure. Well, you know, as a normal person like everybody else, we're all normal. We all have our own story, our own journey. Mine starts a little bit early as a kid. I always wanted to be in the music concert touring industry. I figured I couldn't be on the stage. So I figured out that being a video technician was a dream of mine. Sometimes you're not exactly what you want to be, as being on stage or whatever, but as you pivot through, you find what you want. And driven, passionate, laser focused. I walked into an amazing career. I worked into an amazing career as a video engineer for the music concert touring industry. So my job is when you go to a concert, those LED walls that show all the video effects and all the fun stuff. I travel with the bands, putting those together and making sure that, 10,000 people have about an hour to, remove themselves from life and, be
Wow.
happy.
Yeah.
But that's work. I was going to say fun, but I don't think it's definitely fun, but that's, the other part of life is fun as well. So, but we all have struggle and we all have triumph. And my journey started in 2012. 2012, I lost my mom to cancer. If that wasn't enough, in 2017, I lost my wife of 10 years to cystic fibrosis. That was an amazing journey. It was a difficult journey. To lose your two best friends, your two most important people, influential people in your life, to figure out how to live again, to figure out how to get through life. It was a challenge. And luckily I had road life. I had, my road family, my career, and that was about the only thing that felt still together. Everything else felt apart and disconnected and confused. So as I'm trying to, as I say, kind of like dropping a vase, you have this beautiful, everything's together and it drops and you know what it looked like. And now you're trying to put all the pieces together, with that just anxiety of trying to assemble that again.
That's a beautiful metaphor to describe that because it is life shattering in a matter of seconds. And I personally know the challenge of the cystic fibrosis challenge.
Yes.
I have two good friends that have children that have CF, and For those that do not know what that looks like, it's it's a hard challenge because the life expectancy is not. I think I've heard, and I could be wrong on
Yep.
this. I think it's like 25 to 30, isn't it? Kind of. I think it's going up,
Was
but
it was now it's up
okay.
to 40 or 50. So
Oh
if you're a
wow.
young adult, like
Oh,
it's,
that's great
you know,
news.
so
Yeah.
and so just since we're there, a little bit of clarity. CF is a kind of a salt deficiency. It goes deeper than that, but it's the easiest way to explain it. And that salt deficiency is very crucial in a lot of things that help us in airwaves. So your sinuses, your lungs, other parts of your body, your enzymes that help eat down your food. Well, those are compromised, and so all of a sudden mucus builds, and those are that salt is what was the lubrication for us, or for the larger population, to get rid of that mucus. But they don't have that. So it becomes very sticky. And so what happens as an after product is your lungs and those type of things become compromised and get worse. And so that's why, things have gotten so much better, because as a young kid, the drugs are a lot more powerful. So there's a lot more preserving that's being done. Which is just huge. So like since we're talking about it, especially with Brianna was diagnosed at 3 years old. And she was told that she was only going to live till 13.
Ugh.
So if you think about that, that was, 1990, being told, or 92 or so, but being told, oh, you're only going to live till 13. But if you also think about that, that's a huge progress in a set amount of time. But kind of with that whole story is, you're stuck with that journey, and it's a difficult one, and we all know it was going to happen, and it happened, and now you're facing with losing mom, and you're losing Brianna, and as you sit and go through it, life was difficult to try to put things back together. Luckily, Brianna was very inspirational. She was very aware, and she knew that life was short. She knew that every single day was, possibly her last, because she was told that she wasn't even supposed to be alive till then. At 25, 26 years old, she's already 10, 20 years past it. So,
I'm starting to tear up. I just, I can't imagine the pain and everything that you must have gone through. And yet at the same time, it's this beautiful reminder to all of us at how precious life is. And I mean, and really she was given this life, and to make the most out of it every single day, right? Like sometimes we take life for granted, right? Like we take just breathing for granted.
yes. Um, Yes. And for her, what was beautiful, and at the same time for me, who's hadn't been challenged with a disease in my family or anything like that. So in a sense, I was learning extremely with her. But it was amazing to watch her in the doctor's office, as the doctor's like, well, here's 4 to 6 hours of treatment a day that you need to be doing. And she was like, well, I only have 24, and I'm only going to give one, or I mean, I don't remember. It was like 3 hours a day to, cystic fibrosis. So the rest of the day, I'm going to actually live my life.
Yeah.
And I know that this is what, the calculator says,
Mhm.
but my goal is I want to live today at 100%, as opposed to live 2 days at 50%.
Yeah.
So that's how she lived every single day. And for me, it was, as I, after Brianna passed and dealing with the passing of my mom and trying to just figure it all out, about 3 years later, I woke up and the left side of my face is paralyzed. I thought it was a stroke. Dr. Google said it was a stroke.
Google.
But as I, finally, got to a real doctor, it was diagnosed with Bell palsy, and most of it has returned, but I still feel it. Now, what I realized is, if my mom dying wasn't enough, if Brianna and those lessons weren't enough, for some reason, we sometimes have to have it happen to us. And when it happened to me, I was like, oh, my brain, my heart, my lungs, any of that could just go. It doesn't need an explanation. It can just go. And so that was where I had that aha moment of, okay, if not now, then when? And so I went to go write, the book about Brianna and, our amazing journey and what we went through and the lessons we learned. And as I was writing, I remember looking down, and I have a tattoo of something Brianna created. One of Brianna's things in her life was she loved quotes. Like, she loved quotes. And she put them on the refrigerator door. And it was her way that every single morning you would see the quote, and there was probably about 50 of them. So there was always one that was going to hit you. Yeah. At the same time, when people came over, they always loved reading them. Well, when my mom died, she realized, that afterwards, life sometimes memories sometimes fade. So she wanted to leave a legacy with all the work she's done to be able to help support and to be such a huge advocate for cystic fibrosis. And so she created the quote, "Choose your attitude, create your life." And so on my inner forearm is that quote in her handwriting. And I remember writing, typing on the computer, writing this book and looking down and seeing that quote. And it was then when I realized, wow, that's what that means. And as I say that, I want to tell you right now, like, the emotions are coming out of my eyeballs. Like, I'm feeling that same feeling, but it's just by a mindset. I had taken all this sadness where I just had felt confused. I felt lost. I couldn't find life. I couldn't find purpose. And just by doing something I had never done before, writing, letting it out, sharing my reality, it was creating a life for me. Yeah. And as I was doing that, the energy that I felt, the energy that others started to feel, it just became even bigger and greater. And so as I wrote the book, Loving Someone Who's Dying, I kept thinking, like, the last 3 years I had a struggle because a lot of it was me having to figure it out. But at the same time, it was the people I talked to. Yeah. I felt out of place, not because of what I was going through, but because others didn't know how to listen or understand or relate. Yeah. And so it was very confusing. So then all of a sudden I was like, well, how am I going to get people to actually get the true meaning of this book? And there was a little bit of a pivot that happened where I was like, okay, if I put this on shirts, I can create a message for people. I can get anybody to come into the conversation. We can slowly start coming together, inspiring each other to hopefully soon start talking about what's normal in life that society likes to suppress. Yeah. Death, addiction, struggle, financial loss, all the things we go through, failure, all those things. And if it wasn't for COVID, April 7th, I would have had a launch party. But it was actually somewhat of a blessing. It kind of weird to say I'll finish it and you'll kind of see, but so March 10th, I got the phone call that, my career of going on the tour was canceled. And that's what I was going to use to pay for the capital, since I'd already invested in this, this mission. And that was when everything pivoted, and I pivoted into fully the brand, Choose Your Attitude, and pushing that message to help people get closer and focus on that. And the goal is to get to create your life, which is getting deeper in conversation and learning to become more comfortable with self, emotion, all the things that are real, normal. But society is so afraid. And as one of my other podcasts I was talking to, American society especially is likes to suppress. But yeah, so that's kind of been this whole entire journey of just what I've gone through. But at the same time, now we've turned it into this beautiful message, or Brianna, it's taken the light and message from Brianna legacy that she created, and using it as a positive tool to help others while it's helping myself, mind you. um
Yeah.
and
That
and yeah.
and it's such a parallel process, the process that you're doing with
Mm.
taking her legacy forward, but also the process for you. But it also has another layer of
Oh,
the process that's happening as a mirror of this, because
like
you're
an
absolutely
onion.
right. I was a therapist for 24 years prior to doing what I do now, and I tell you, there's conversations that people just don't know how to have. And
Yes.
so it's getting uncomfortable, it's getting comfortable with the uncomfortable
Yes.
conversations to be
Yes.
had, to have transformation, to have understanding, to have whatever that might be, that's bringing what happens in that conversation. And I think there's power in the conversation. And we never know. This just happened, was it 3 weeks ago? I was going to the grocery store to buy my daughter some flowers for an event that she was receiving an award for an event. And I said, "Oh, I'll just grab some, flowers and take them to the event." And I walked in, and there's this guy standing there, and he asked me a question. It was a very profound question. I won't go into the details of it, but total strangers, and total backgrounds, different experiences, different worlds.
Yep.
And we got into this conversation that was pretty, I think, it would be considered a difficult conversation. And it was the most beautiful thing. So 45 minutes later, I go, why did I come in here? um
Yeah.
but it was, and normally I have like cards on me because I love collaborating with people. And I didn't that day. And I go, you know what, that was supposed to happen just the way it
Yep.
was. It was no more further conversations. I don't know this person's last name. We just know first names and stuff. And I'll probably never see this person again. But it was it was just a cool divine moment. And there's so much power in having those conversations, and what you're doing to
Oh, for sure.
take Brianna's legacy and really let it fly, and let it soar, is profound. And it's amazing, because I can only imagine what that journey has been, will be, and continues to be, for you, as you are using what I think that, we all have that deeper inner knowing, and
Oh,
using that to our greatest purpose and our passion, and really helping. I mean, really, you're being the light in the world. Like, you're bringing
oh,
about awareness in something that's very dark and heavy, and you're bringing it into the light. And I'm just getting chills. You're bringing it
right.
into the light for people. And I just and earlier you had said, Brianna loved quotes, and I found a quote of yours, that I want to share with people, because I think it's a great way to kind of, you know start to wrap us up here, because I literally could talk to you for all day, and I definitely want to have you come back on, and
Yes,
let's do a part two, if we will.
for
It
sure.
says, you had said, we all face struggles, but the key to overcoming them is to using the pain as a form of strength and encouragement. And I think no matter what our stories are, what our experiences, what our struggles have been, we can always use that, and use it to our advantage.
Yes. Yes, and I think as you were saying that, the biggest thing that came to mind is by speaking about it.
Yeah.
You literally are unpacking and going through, and your own you're doing it yourself to be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
So for me, that's one thing that I've loved from it, is to be able to do that. And like a teacher of mine has always said is, you don't know something until you can teach it. And so I
Yeah.
love the idea of being able to, I've always done that when I think about, whenever I do anything, is I love to think about, okay, how could I teach this to somebody so that way I can get better at it? And that's the whole idea, is the more you talk about it, the more you uncover it, the more you flip it over. And then all of a sudden it becomes you, in the fact of, it makes you become better. It makes you become more aware. It makes you become more understanding, and it develops you into a whole other person. And it's a great thing. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
And speaking about it, it also, it has a disarming effect. because
Yes.
we don't have to, and we don't have to always have it figured out.
No.
And it can be sloppy, and it can be, but we can, if we give ourselves the patience and the understanding and the kindness to say, you know what, this may not have turned out the way we wanted it to, but how do we unpack this and give
Yes.
ourselves permission to mess it up, maybe, and to figure it out.
The only reason why we're holding back is our fear of how somebody else will think when you are the one feeling. So you are the one that is in control of your own feelings. And when I say control, I don't mean that you can control how you feel. What I'm saying is you control the relationship with the feelings you encounter, because by all means, like, feelings are uncontrollable. You can't control yourself feeling sad when something happens. That's a feeling that's natural. What
Yeah.
you can do, though, is you can control how you react to that feeling.
Yeah.
And that's where you become empowered. That's when you become fearless. And having some of those conversations about the normal stuff of death and those type of things are what empowers us and helps us, those minor steps get us a long ways.
Wonderful. Nicholas, I could sit here and we
Yes.
could conversate all day, which I know
Yeah.
that's been the case for you today. And you were on kind of an interview tour today. So
Yes.
thank you so much for your
Thank
time,
you.
your brilliance, and your light, and your message that you're bringing to the world. And so I can't wait to see, where this movement goes. And I will be able to say, I knew Nicholas
I
Wynn.
love it. I appreciate it.
And so I can't wait to stay in touch with you. And so thank you so much for your time today. And I look forward to staying in touch.
Thank you.
I am so grateful that you joined me for this episode. If you've enjoyed this, then there's just one thing that I would like you to do. Click to subscribe and leave me a rating and review. As my way to thank you, let's connect for a free consultation. Just reach out to me at talkingwithteri, that's TERI.com, to book your time.